All right, break time's over. Back to work. We got some more money to make this week, right? Boy, we got some big news coming tomorrow. Got personal income number bright and early tomorrow morning, and some big ranges on the charts in front of us right now. Now, you know me, right? I love range-bound markets. There are lots of ways we can make money trading range markets. But I'll tell you, look at the charts right now. There's one specific type of range play on my mind for tomorrow. If we can nail this range play tomorrow, it can make our entire week. So I have a number of trades I'm tracking for tomorrow. We'll definitely cut my favorite entries for tomorrow. By the time we're done this video tonight, everyone will have a roadmap to make some money tomorrow as well. So enough of the intro. Charts are ready to go here. Let's go make some more moolah on Thursday morning. S&P and SPY charts are ready to go in front of me. NASDAQ triple Q charts are ready to go. I have two very important clues on these charts in front of us that are telling us where I think the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. One of those clues, and arguably the most important clue on the charts in front of us, is right on this 60-minute, these hourly charts. If you recall, back last week, we had that big Tesla earning came out, that big strong rundown on the S&P SPY, big strong rundown on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. You'll notice here, the bears tried once to go back and retest. They've tried twice to go back and retest. On the NASDAQ, bears tried once to take it lower. They tried twice to go lower. Now, usually, whenever we see a big, strong move overall and bears once, bears twice, bears once, bears twice, that usually means there's a lot of buyers waiting underneath these prior swings. So right now, both on the S&P and the NASDAQ, I got my eyes on that 3750, that 2250 on the S&P SPY, that 432 and a quarter, that 261 and three quarters here on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. It looks like those levels are probably going to be a key area for us to watch for tomorrow. Keep that in mind. That's one important clue for tomorrow morning's trading session. I have one probably equally as important clue here though, on some tick charts, some faster time frames. We're going to grab that in a moment and put this all together and give you guys an easy roadmap to make money tomorrow. Before we do that though, let's check schedule for tomorrow because there are three things on my mind for tomorrow. First is news tomorrow morning. We have a block of news coming out tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time. That personal income and the ECI number, that does have potential to be a major market moving event tomorrow morning. So be aware of that. Later on in the session, the Chicago PMI number, definitely not as important as that personal income number, but I will definitely keep an eye on that personal income number and that Chicago PMI number tomorrow morning. That's the first thing on my mind tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, we go back to earnings calendar for tomorrow. We have arguably the biggest earnings reports coming out tomorrow afternoon. Some small companies you may have heard of, Amazon, Apple, and Intel. We know things get weird late in the day before those news reports come out. The earnings reports come out after the close, so be careful in the afternoons. And as I told you guys yesterday, I warned you as we go into the end of the month, tomorrow's the last day, Halloween day, October 31st. Remember, anytime we transition from one month into a new month, volatility almost always kicks up. We saw a taste of that today. Three things for tomorrow. Keep your eyes open around that personal income number. And don't be surprised if that Chicago PMI number moves things around for us as well. Big earnings tomorrow after the close. Be careful late in the session tomorrow. And again, be aware of that increase in volatility. So position size correctly, manage your risk properly as volatility kicks up into the end of the week. Let's get back to our charts though. Now it's good to know what the news looks like for tomorrow, but we know the money is made on the charts. Let's start first right now on the S&P and SPY. We'll finish up tonight on the NASDAQ and the triple Qs. I mentioned earlier, we're definitely bullish overall. We had that strong run down, that Tesla earnings, what was that, last Wednesday? Bears once, bears twice. And we know in these situations, usually the easiest money is made below these prior swing lows. I gave us a couple key levels, 37.5, 22.5 level to keep on our mind here for tomorrow. Let's now go to our tick charts because the tick charts, right? Remember, tick charts are based on volume. They're based on transactions. I think they make everything easier than using time charts. This, of course, is a 7,000 tick chart all the time frames you'll need in the upper left-hand corner. And if you're watching for the first time right now, that yellow line you see right there, that is the 21 EMA. As you can see, it's pretty much the only indicator we use to find lots of winning trades each week in our trade room. One very big clue here right now on these tick charts. You can easily see it. Look at this big range we're seeing right here, right? Lower highs, higher lows. Now, why are ranges so important? Well, because they like to rotate. They rotate from one side to the other, back and forth, back and forth. And if you learn one thing from me about ranges, usually the money is made around the edges, right? Around the edges of these ranges. So this tells me right now that fake out breakouts, right? Failed breakouts are probably where the best money is made for tomorrow. And speaking of that, I have 3 very specific types of trades on my radar. One of them for tomorrow is definitely my favorite. We'll cover those here right now. Let's dive in. My first trade on my radar of those 3 trades for tomorrow is a very simple bear trap pattern as we go out and take out that low. There's that 35 low. There's that 22 half low. We mentioned that earlier here on the hourly charts. Now I'd love to buy a fake out breakout of that range and use some bear traps off of that low. One variation of a bear trap is what I call a failure pattern, right? So we take out the lows here. I'm not going to pick a bottom on this, right? Because who knows how far it will go. What I'd like to do though is trap some rookie sellers in this area. Get those bears trying once, get those bears trying twice. Why twice? Because now I can use their stops to fuel this move running higher. If you get stopped out of a short position, you have to buy your way out. I call these failure patterns, a 2-try failure pattern like I teach in our free video class. Now remember, where's the market want to go? It wants to rotate all the way back to the side of that trading range. This is where, if you want to make more money, get better at adding to your winners, this is where we incorporate what I call a technical bear trap. Very simple pattern. It's a higher high in price and to move just below that prior low. And again, leave those runners up around these trend lines, up around these highs up here, right? Because ranges love to rotate. So trade number 1 of 3 trades I'm watching for in the S&P and SPY is a failure pattern into a technical bear trap pattern. Remember, on those trap patterns, look for that separation off that moving average, higher high in price, nice strong green candle closing above that 21 EMA. A lot of examples of those in our free video class. The second trade on my mind for tomorrow is arguably my favorite trade out of all of them. We have a lot of bear momentum running lower right now. One of the keys to making consistent money in trading is it's good to know the overall direction on the hourly chart, the higher time frame, but you really have to kind of respect the short-term momentum. If you're a short-term trader, the short-term momentum is really, really important. So I mentioned earlier, I would love to get down this area, trap some bears in and squeeze some stops. But oftentimes what happens is with all of that momentum going lower, I will oftentimes get a first target. I always go with a 1-to-1 first target, move that stop up to my point of entry, remove the risk, right? Lock in a reward. But sometimes what happens is sometimes it'll roll over and retest that low again. This is my favorite trade here for tomorrow. I call these double bottom retests or double bottom reversal. Remember, anybody who sells short on that pullback, their profit targets are hanging out around that low. Anybody who's a seller up here becomes a buyer down here. This is one of the worst places to sell, which means we know that professionals, the big money, the smart money, they will not be selling down there. These will only be rookies, inexperienced traders. Same thing. Don't pick the bottom on this, right? Don't be picking tops and bottoms. Much more difficult to get consistent results picking tops and bottoms. Better to trap in these inexperienced traders. Let them try a couple times, twice. And again, I'm looking at that failure into that trap combination. And guys, this sequence works over and over again because we have all of that momentum running lower right now. I'd love to grab that first attempt going lower, But if it pops up and rolls back over again, if you're in my trade room each week, you know these are oftentimes our most lucrative trades of the week here. Those double bottom retests, it's basically a failure into bear trap combination. And now my third trade for tomorrow. Before we talk about that third trade, let's slow down for a moment, because I know most of you guys watching right now, you know these patterns, you know why we love ranges, how we use failures, traps, running stops. But if you're here for the first time right now, this might be a brand new language, a brand new strategy you haven't learned before. So I teach this entire strategy, the entire roadmap. I have probably more than 100 examples of failures, traps, and a whole lot more. I cover so much more of this in our free video classes. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up there and take that free trading class, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that tells us where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry patterns, help you time better entries, make a lot more money trading. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. If you're tired of missing the best entries, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, again, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free video course. Everyone loves all the trade examples I include in that short video series. It is perfect for anyone who's serious about making money in these markets. And don't be afraid too. I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn more about this stuff. I'll put all the details in the description of the YouTube video. Start first on the free video classes, learn the entry patterns, master the entry techniques I'm talking about you tonight on the video. Don't forget too, we trade together every morning in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put all that information, description of the video. And keep in mind too, I post a lot of charts, updates, mindset stuff on Twitter or X. If you're on Twitter X, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need to learn more about the entire strategy and hopefully earn a lot more after you learn it, right? So I'll include there description of the YouTube video. So where were we? I talked about 2 out of my 3 favorite trades. The third and final one is not my favorite trade, but you know my job right now is to make sure we're ready for whatever these markets throw at us. I mentioned earlier I would love to go down, right, and trap some bears in and squeeze those stops. But you know what though? That 60-minute time frame, I'll bet there are so many buyers under 35, right under that 22.5. I'll bet there are so many buyers down there. This thing may run lower and just boing right back up into that trading range. How do you trade stuff like these? These are very difficult to trade, right? Because you're not going to get a good entry signal down here, and you don't want to chase after it going higher because it's more likely to roll over because we're in one big trading range. If we V bottom off the low, my favorite way to get in on a V bottom is to watch for this simple entry pattern. In most cases, a V bottom will begin to grind as it goes higher, as all the sellers get out of the way of this market rotating higher. Once I start seeing this thing grind higher, it's very simple. Don't chase after it. Mark a trend line off these highs, bring that trend line down around those lows, and as we always say in these videos, and of course every day in our trade room, look left, find one of these prior swings. I want that prior swing to line up right around the low of that channel, and I want that first test. First test is always the best test. So again, I would love to run down, trap some bears in and squeeze those stops back up. That would be some of my favorite trades for tomorrow. But if all we get is that V bottom off of that low, I will then go out and look for a bear trap pattern entry, a seller failure pattern entry, a pullback combination, maybe a strength trade as it rotates back up to the other side of that trading range. And again, if you're watching for the first time right now, if this is way over your head right now, again, take that free video class because it'll make it a whole lot easier to understand what I'm talking about here in these videos. Those are 3 my favorite trades here on the S&P and the SPY. But what about the Nasdaq? Nasdaq is a little bit different. There are some definite similarities to us on the Nasdaq right now over on the NQ and the triple Qs. Before we dive into this chart though, if you're enjoying this video right now, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button, subscribing, and sharing this link with other trading buddies. That makes a huge impact on this YouTube channel because YouTube rewards me every time you like, share, and subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days. I appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with me every evening on these videos. So thank you so much for the likes, subscribes, and all your support. Now, let's get back and talk about the NASDAQ. I mentioned earlier that we're definitely bullish overall on the NQ, but again, anytime we see a strong shot like that, and you can easily see the Bears. The Bears tried once to go back to retest the low. They went higher up, tried twice to go back and retest that low. Again, you can almost guarantee there are buyers waiting underneath that 32.25, underneath that 61.75 area. Keep those on our radar for tomorrow. Now, let's drill down to some tick charts here. Faster time frame. On the tick charts, a 4,000 tick chart linked up there, upper left-hand corner. Look at the range we're seeing right now. And you can see for yourself, right? Look at this range right in the middle. That's basically all this is, right? It's rotating up, down, up, down, up, down, and probably going to go right back up again. What I want you to see, though, is look where all the money is being made right now, above the high. Remember I said earlier, when you see a range like this, the money is made outside of these edges, okay? So we know these levels. That 32.25 level should come to mind from that hourly chart we saw earlier. And of course, that 61.75 level right down bottom there, that level comes to mind as well. Now, I mentioned earlier on the S&P, one of my favorite trades to run the S&P was to run lower, trap the bears in, use those failure patterns to squeeze those stops, right? Trap in some rookies and squeeze those stops. We talked about my favorite trade for tomorrow was if we go up and roll back down again. Oftentimes with all of this momentum going lower, we'll get that 1-to-1 first target, but for whatever reason, right? All that momentum, it knocks it back down and retests the low. And the same game plan applies. In fact, usually these double bottom retests are even bigger because now anybody who sells up here, right, they're taking their profit. A lot of buyers entering the market with a double bottom down there. And I'm sure a lot of rookies who don't watch my videos will foolishly sell into this area. Bears try once, bears try twice. And again, you guys know how this works, right? Failure into trap combination. Remember, if you want to make more money, add to your winners. And those bear trap patterns are a great way to add to it. Remember, you want to get that separation off the moving average, that higher high in price. And again, I'm simply drawing the screen right now, but I have like more than 100 examples of these all linked up in that free video class I mentioned earlier. So if you want to see more examples of these off real charts and real setups, definitely check out that free video course. It is definitely worth your time. Everyone loves the free video series. And again, the last one was, of course, right, was that V bottom, right? If we don't get that bear trap here, I want that V bottom as it runs higher. Very simple. Once it grinds up, mark those highs, mark those lows, look left, find some prior swings. It's almost always where the money is made in a V bottom scenario, like I'm talking about earlier there on the hourly chart. Now, next question is, how do we sell this thing off the high right now? Right? How do we sell off the high? Remember, we're a big range right now. And by the way, this also applies to the S&P and the SPY as well. We're basically one big range right now. We're overall bullish. So the entry patterns I can use to buy below the low, I can be a little more aggressive when I try to buy below the low. When I try to sell above the high, I have to respect the overall momentum of the market being overall bullish. And so I can be a little more cautious, a little more patient to sell off the high here. So if we wind up rotating all the way back up again, hopefully we find our way into this area first and squeeze some stops to get there. How would I sell off the high? There are two types of bull trap patterns I look for to sell off the high. As we go higher, my favorite bull trap is always called a crown reversal. Now, crown reversals are just like a failure pattern, but with a trap pattern roped into it. So I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go lower and bears once, bears twice back up, right? Trap the bears in. The same idea applies up here. Buyers once, buyers twice, but now this is that small caveat because we're going against the overall trend. I do want to make sure now I get a bull trap entry. All right. Now, again, in the free video classes, you'll learn more about what bull traps are, right? It's basically a lower low in price, move right above that high, and a strong red candle, in this case, closing below that 21 EMA. I call these crown reversal patterns. The key is, I don't want to be selling this as it goes lower. Because again, we're a bull market overall. There could easily be some channels coming up here. These oftentimes will get squeezed back up and they'll rip your face off there, right, if you're getting in too low. So I don't want to sell as it goes lower. Again, this is that small adjustment we make here whenever I'm going against the overall direction. I should also mention too that personally, I always go with like a half size position, a quarter size position whenever I'm going against the overall trend on the 60, right? If I go lower, I can be a lot more aggressive. 1, 2, right? I can buy as we're going higher with a full size position because we're going with the overall trend on the 60. We go higher though, can be more patient and a bit, at least for me personally, right, a smaller position size, right? So 1, 2, the key is that lower low and that trap and that strong red candle to signal the entry going lower. Now, oftentimes these will go back to back, right? So bull trap off the high, then as it rotates lower, where does the market want to go? It wants to rotate back and forth, right, inside of that trading range. Watch now, the giveaway is the separation. Watch for that separation off the moving average. When it separates off that moving average like that, that's usually your giveaway. Mark that lower low in price. Always has to be a lower low because then that means that becomes a swing high. All the bears will pile in with a bear trap. So it's basically, these are really two of the exact same patterns. One I call a crown reversal because it's a reversal pattern. The other one is simply a bull trap, right? It's a continuation pattern like I teach inside the free video course. I can be a lot more confident, by the way, on the follow-up trade because now momentum now has shifted back in my favor. One variation of this is that same V top, V bottom. You know, we may run up here and there might be so many profit taking up there, it may get whacked right back down again. A little bit easier trade, not the most desirable, but a bit easier on the emotions, at least for me it is. If it V-tops off that high and begins to grind back down again, you're not going to get that 1, 2, and then back down. You won't have a chance to trap those bulls in and sell into those stop losses. If it runs up and V-tops off that high, grinds, you know where the market wants to go. It wants to rotate back and forth. And when that happens, the hardest part about these is not chasing after it, right? Because if you're anything like I am, that little voice in your head will start screaming at you. Come on, man, get in. But we don't want to chase after it. Your patience will be rewarded. Mark that trend line off that high, bring it down around that low. Off the low, up around the high, right? Look left, find some prior swings. And I'm telling you, and I'm sure most of you guys know this already, at least the folks who watch these videos quite frequently, this is almost always where all the big money comes in and shorts the heck out of this thing right back down again. Again, this would be a V-top reversal. Don't chase after it. Wait for it to pop up. Get that first test. Remember, first test is always the best test off the highs of that channel. I've also got one little one you'll notice in the NASDAQ, that channel running lower. By far the most aggressive entry right now would be above this swing high here at 58, right? As the bears try to take out that low. If you like wooden roller coasters or skydiving, if you're more of a risk on type of trader, not my style, but a bull trap above that high, what I look for here on this one is those buyers trying once, buyers trying twice. It's that same crown reversal pattern. Again, a little more aggressive than I would personally take there. But again, if you're willing to be more aggressive and stuff, that's something I'm watching here overnight there as well. 1 try for the buyers, 2 try for the buyers. Now we know all their stops are sitting right there. And again, the most important thing is you want to get that nice, strong red candle closing firmly below that 21 EMA, your 1-to-1 target. Another target comes off at that low. And then as we get down to that low down here, no more selling down here. Goes trap those bears in and squeeze the stops back up again. Right, guys? Once again, I'm simply drawing on the charts here right now, but you can see a lot more examples of these trade patterns in our free video class. So definitely start there and learn the roadmap. Everyone loves the free video series. So that is the plan for tomorrow. Now, don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, come trade this stuff with us. A front row seat tomorrow for that big personal income number tomorrow morning, guys. The easiest way to start making money in these markets is to learn and trade along every morning in our trade room. I'm going to put all the important links you'll need in the description of the YouTube video. Definitely start first on the free video classes, learn the roadmap, start making money on your own. Any trouble getting access to our free video classes, we have live chat. You can always call the office if you need help getting started along the way as well. All right, guys, hope you learned a bunch in tonight's video. Hope you use this knowledge to earn a bunch and make a bunch tomorrow as well. And hopefully I'll see you sometime soon trading with us in the morning trade room. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.